Hello and welcome. My name is Brian Caplen, editor of The Banker. I'm here today with Deanna Oppenheimer, the former head of retail banking at Barclays, who now runs her own consultancy based out of Seattle and called CameoWorks. Deanna, welcome back to London.
Thank you very much.
And you've spent your career in retail banking. So what do you see as the big changes facing retail bankers as we speak now?
I think the biggest challenge in retail banking is exactly that, Brian. It's change. And it's change on all fronts. The consumers are changing drastically because of technology that's enabling them to do a lot of different things. Regulations are changing, and then the whole business model is changing post-crisis. Okay,
and now particularly, we're interested very much, I think the banks have to get savvy with younger consumers, and that means digital and getting hold of social media. Do you see banks being in a position to actually take that market?
I think what's happening is that banks are getting, even in the last year, have gotten much, much more savvy on doing different mobile applications, looking at a variety of those different solutions. But the challenge is that there's a lot of competitors outside of banking that are taking little slices of that market.
Yeah. So, how are the banks going to keep that? Because, the danger is that they lose that very important bit where they're facing the customer and they're left just doing the backroom kind of donkey-style work.
Yeah. I think that there's a couple of things that are happening, and there's many examples out there, but I think it really boils down to a few. One is banks have to focus on collaborating. So you have to embrace a lot of that innovation that's happening on the outside and bring it inside. So you see more and more financial institutions setting up innovation centers and various things like that. The second thing is they've got to figure out the area that they're going to be really good at and go for that very intensely. I think the days are gone when they're going to be able to be all things to all people.
Okay, but on that point, they've got a cost structure and a base where they are all things to all people. So to turn, a big universal bank into more of a niche operation, that's quite a big ask, isn't it? You're going to have some huge downsizing to do that.
Well, you're seeing that in the banking industry today, right here in London. And so I think what is happening is that, again, there's several factors that are coming into play. Downsizing and cost savings that are happening to get that cost structure out. And then digital is causing more innovation, more disruption. But there's a big opportunity in there, whereas you begin to digitize your entire end-to-end processes, the costs go down, the customer opportunity goes up, and the opportunity to actually grow comes back into play. But it's very challenging, as you say.
Okay, and let me pick you up on that thing you said about collaboration, because clearly banks are not used to collaborating. They like to have the whole show themselves. But clearly they're not getting hold of the innovative part, are they? So, is it best for them to actually go out and buy these young innovative startups and take them over, or work with them or partner with them? What's the best way forward for them?
Well, I think what's happening right now is you're seeing a little bit of everything. See BBVA buying Simple.
Yeah.
That's a big play into that particular market. You also see various peoples like My Old Shop innovating a really interesting crowdsourcing credit card where they're going out and getting customers to help design the card to share in the benefits of that card. So I think there's a lot of different models. It's too early to say which one is going to be the one that comes through. But the important thing is this, staying really close to customers, looking at what your strengths are, and then being able to go out and innovate and improvise on that basis.
And how much do you think that regulation is holding back the banks? Because, clearly the startups don't have that kind of problem. But nevertheless, if it's going to come in-house, then it's got to come to terms with the regulations.
Well, I think one thing is the regulators are continuing to change and adapt to this new world as well. So they're looking at things, particularly in the payment space, where if you have a non-regulated entity, how are they going to ensure that that same ability to regulate happens across the piece? So I think there's a lot of change going on in that area. I also think that there is uncertainty in the regulations as it comes together. So again, my view on that is to keep the dialogue going between the regulator and the bank and keep the information flowing.
Okay. Deanna, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on the future of retail banking.
Great. Thanks a lot, Brian.